Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chlorinated Thoughts. I'm going to try and post this podcast this week. So I'm filming this Sunday night. And I literally filmed this podcast episode on Sunday night last week, but I don't know. We basically had a travel meet last week and we got back from North Carolina on Saturday at like 3 a.m. And then I tried to film the podcast episode the next day at night, but I was so exhausted because for some reason when I go to bed late, I can't stay sleeping late. I don't know. I don't know why that happens to me, but it does. And it's really annoying. But anyways, I literally got maybe 5 hours of sleep and I'm so bad at not getting enough sleep. Like, I'm so bad that, like, if I don't get enough sleep, I literally cannot function the whole day. In that episode, I was pretty spaced out and really, I don't know, I feel like it just sounded really depressed. Like, I don't know. I wrote the topic that we're talking about today on the plane, and I feel like it's a pretty important topic to go over because I don't think many people talk about it really often, but I think a lot of us go through it. And I'm just curious. I don't know if like my point of view is different from others. I mean, of course it's different because everyone's point of view is different on everything. But like, I don't know if, what I'm talking about is unique to me or like that's just like my personality or if more people experience what I experience. Um, I mean, if I experience it, I think more people experience it as well, not just me, because like there's freaking 7, 8, 9 billion people on this earth. So it's definitely not just me. So I think it's a really important thing to talk about. I feel like we should first define mediocrity. Like, what even is mediocrity? Let me pull it up real quick. Oh my gosh, literally. Okay, Google. Google, you're so dumb. Google, literally. Okay, I searched up the definition of mediocrity and it said the quality or state of being mediocre. Come on, babes, come on. Let's try and not use the same word. Okay, let's just search what is mediocre. Mediocre is of moderate or low quality, value, ability, or performance. Which is a very good definition, actually. Thank you. Second time's a charm, guys. Second time's a charm. So I feel like mediocrity really is just like not thinking you're like anyone special, anything special. Mediocrity is just being average, being ordinary, which is like not a bad thing, honestly. Like it really is up to perception as well. Like mediocrity is just up to what you make it. I feel like being average is different for everyone. Like everyone's average is different. We set ourselves this standard of living, and some people set very high standards of themselves, some people set very low standards of themselves, some people set like pretty, average standard for themselves. And it just depends, what you're thinking. But basically, how I grew up, like growing up, I never really wanted to be mediocre. Like it was always something in my head where I wanted to be the best at something. Like I always wanted to be the best at everything that like was possible to be the best at. Like in school, I wanted to be the best. I want like it's just like I don't know. It was always just in me that like I never thought of myself as someone that's like just average. Like I always thought I was like someone special, and I believe everyone in this world is special because like no one is like anyone else. But like yeah, in my head I was always like literally when I was a child, guys, when I was a freaking like not baby, but when I was a child, I would think like I'm an angel like sent from Jesus, and like yeah, like I just thought I was really freaking special, which is amazing. I think that's a really good quality to have. Like I don't think I was egotistical. I just thought I was a freaking special girl. Yeah, I was always doing the most. And obviously I started swimming at a very young age, and that was the one thing that I was always the best at. I grew up in Kuwait, so it wasn't really hard to be the best at swimming, especially when it's like Kuwait is not a female driven country. Um, so females are not like, super dominant in sports or anything. So it was pretty easy for me to be the best at swimming there and everything. The time comes when you start to realize, okay, well, I have strengths and I also have weaknesses. And like at some point, you have to let go of like trying to be the best at everything because like you really can't. Like, you really can't. Like, sorry. I was in math. Like, I remember, I think starting grade six, we had different tiers of math ability. And I remember they put me in like the table that was like not the worst math ability, but it wasn't the best. And I was like, how come, like, in my head, I was like, how come I'm not in the best math ability? Like, oh my gosh, like, something has to be wrong. Like, girl, you're just not good at math. Sorry. Like, for some people it clicks, for some people it doesn't. And for me, it did not click. Okay, but I still passed Calc 210. So really, yeah, I'm a math genius. I'm the best at math. But no, anyways. So yeah, at some point you just have to accept that you're not going to be the best at everything. And I did, but like there was always that one thing that I was the best at in my head, and that was swimming. Like, I knew that obviously there were people better than me. I'm not stupid. But I also knew that I was good too, and obviously that made me feel good. And I don't know, I feel like in a sense this is ego, but also, is it ego, or is it like, am I just striving to be the best? You know what I mean? I feel everyone needs to find one thing they are really good at, so it does feed their like confidence. And I think to a certain point, ego is not a bad thing. Like, if you have an ego, that also means you have confidence. But yeah, I feel like that, like, swimming was my kind of like, not excuse, but like it was kind of my, something I told myself that, okay, I am good at this thing, and like this is one thing that makes me special and like sets me apart from the rest. As you open yourself up to the world more, there's like so much more opportunity for comparison. And I feel like comparison then starts to lead you with like fighting thoughts. So obviously, I started swimming in Kuwait. Then I moved to Hungary. And obviously, Hungary is a bigger world for swimming, it's a much bigger sport there. And it really kind of, yeah, it really did open me up to more comparison, because at meets I wouldn't always win. And like, I don't know, it would just bring up this like weird feeling in me, like, oh, like maybe I'm really not the best. Like, maybe I can't, maybe I'm not that special, you know? And it just really, I feel like comparison leads to like so many fighting thoughts. I think whenever, I feel like whenever I compare myself to someone, I just think of like excuses as to why in that time someone beat me, or like why in that time someone was better than me, but like actually I'm better than them, so like it doesn't count. You know what I mean? To like discredit someone else's performance because I still wanted to think that I'm good and like I'm special. And yeah, I feel like it just leads you to think things that are not necessarily true. Comparison also leads to thoughts of mediocrity, because when you're like, oh, like this person beat me, or this person is better than me in this, then you start to think, okay, well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. Like, maybe I'm not as talented as I thought I was. Maybe I'm not this, maybe I'm not that. And that's when it starts to give you that feeling of like, oh, like maybe I'm like just average and I'm not more special, like I'm not special, or like, so this is my thought process. Like, do I accept the fact that maybe I'm not going to be amazing? Or like, do I not accept it? Because at the end of the day, I'm striving for excellence. I'm striving to be better at something. And so in my head, I already did like, not decide, but like I did accept the fact that like, I think at 19, you will be able to know if like you're going to excel in your sport or not, especially in swimming. Like, you will know if you're, you know, you will know if you're going to be swimming until you're 26, 27, and you will also know when you're not going to be doing that. I'll be doing this for my college career throughout my college years, but after that, I do not want to continue the sport because, like, that's just a change in perspective. It's like just, people's opinions change on things, people's people's perspectives change on things, and that's a perspective that changed for me when I got to university and even before I got to university. But like that still doesn't mean I don't want to excel at my sport right now. I know last week I did have these feelings of mediocrity because there's so much opportunity for comparison here in the States in our like swim team, because our team is so big. It's so easy to compare yourself and think, well, I'm mediocre, like, sorry, like, let me just settle for that. But I don't think you should settle to be mediocre, and I don't think anyone is mediocre. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's your choice to settle, like, to just accept the thought that you are not as good as you thought you are, or you can keep striving towards this construct that is above average in your head. um I honestly think this fake construct is good though, because like it really just keeps you striving and like keeps you motivated to like not listen to those like shitty ass thoughts that tell you you're freaking average, like, we don't want you, like, not we don't want you, but like you're not good at this, you know what I mean? Yeah, at the end of the day it's your choice, but I feel like it's a big letdown to yourself if you just accept those little tiny little stupid little voices that tell you you're not good enough, because like at the end of the day you are. And also, what is good enough? Like, what standard are you setting yourself? Whose standard is this? Like, who is telling you that you're not, who is telling you that you're below average? Who's telling you that you're average? Who's telling you that you're above average? You know what I mean? Like, it really is just like a mind game, and it's something that you make up in your mind. And I don't know, I think it's really interesting to think about like all these social constructs, and like sometimes they're not even social constructs, they're just something that you made up in your head. And like saying it out loud right now is interesting because it just seems so little, but when you just think about it in your head, like when you just think about it and you're not articulating the words loudly, sometimes it makes those problems, those thoughts seem so much bigger than they actually are. Like at the end of the day, your thoughts are just thoughts. I saw this Instagram reel. It was like a poem. Like honestly, it made me kind of tear up. Kind of embarrassing that an Instagram reel made me tear up, but it's okay. But it was something like, oh yeah, it was like, you are safe. Your thoughts are just thoughts. And it just kept saying that, like, you are safe. Your thoughts are just thoughts. And I thought that was really interesting to think about, because I never even thought of it like when they say you are safe. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, to me, this thought of being average still kind of like, I don't like the feeling of just living an average life. I don't like the feeling of just thinking of like how my future could end up being not how I want it to be. And I still refuse to accept that my life, how I live it, will be average. And I feel like so far how I've lived my life is not ordinary. It's not like how how everyday people have grown up. Because I feel like at 19, I've already experienced so many different cultures. And I feel like I should also make a podcast about that. Like, I've literally experienced so far, I've lived in 3 countries. I lived in Kuwait, which is a Muslim country, like, so conservative, very, female oppressed. And then I've lived in Hungary, which is Europe, obviously, very free, totally different environment, much more freedom, European culture, and then I'm living in America, which is also with now I'm living in America, which is, also a very different kind of culture, especially with the types of people. And yeah, I'm probably gonna get into that in a different episode. But yeah, so I still refuse to accept the thought of being average, and it's like I am not average. But yet, like, the thought of that still go comes into my mind. But like, so how do we prove to ourselves that we are not mediocre? Like, we're not mediocre in what we do. You have to realize that really your thoughts are just thoughts. Like, they're so much smaller than you think they are. Write down your thoughts on a piece of paper and you'll realize, like, oh, wow, this thought is not even, I mean, this is not even as bad as I thought it was, or like, it's not that deep. January to, I would say, like August, September, I feel like I've been just taking my life too seriously. I've been taking things too seriously. Obviously, I went through some like shitty shit, but there's also people that have gone through way shittier shit than I have. But it's just like, I feel like once we stop taking ourselves so seriously and start to realize that like we only have to live life once, like, it puts so much into perspective, and I think it helps us put a little bit less pressure on ourselves. I feel like 3 years ago I would not have been able to, promote my podcast on my Instagram, or like make a separate Instagram for my podcast. And now I'm like, why? Like, I'm literally doing this for me, and I don't really care what anyone else is gonna say, because it's none of their freaking business. Like, you live your life, I'm gonna live mine. Like, I'm not gonna judge you on what you're doing, and if I do, then you shouldn't care. And if you judge me on what I'm doing, then I shouldn't care. Because at the end of the day, everyone's gonna have thoughts. It's stupid to say that, like, no one will ever judge anyone else, but, because we will. But it's like, yeah, I think we should just stop taking ourselves so seriously. It's about time I start to, stop taking things so seriously, and like have a little fun, because I think that's when you can really step into a new era of you. Like, everything great I've ever done has happened when I was honestly so happy and just not taking it too seriously and just feeling so good in my body. And I think we need to we need to be reminded of that. Honestly, really, what I can tell you, there's no really step-by-step instruction of how to prove to yourself that you're not mediocre, but I think ways that you can, prove to yourself that you are so special is just like seeing the differences, like just differences you have between other people. Like, my roommate's hair is black, my hair is blonde. Like, that's what sets me apart from her. Like, that's what sets me, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's what's special about me, is that my hair is blonde. That's what's special about her, is that her hair is black. Like, what's special about her is she lived in Turkey. What's special about me is I lived in Hungary, Kuwait, whatever, you know what I mean? And I think once we realize that our differences aren't bad, that's when we can really open ourselves up to not be, or not think that we are mediocre, because we're not. We are, I think, yeah, we are all so special, and you need to find the special qualities you have. Okay, I have one homework for you guys, just one. Every day this week, before you go to bed or before you start your morning, I want you to write down 5 things that are special about you, and every day they have to be different things. So it can't just be every day that you have brown eyes. Okay, babes, I have brown eyes too. I'm joking. That's special about you, but you know what I mean? You could start off really just really how do you say this? You could start off really just surface level stuff like, okay, what's special about me? I have brown eyes, I have blonde hair, I have small feet, um, I have I have nice eyebrows. I love the shape of my eyebrows, and I don't have man hands. Like it just could be that simple. And then as the week goes on, you can get deeper and deeper, you know, just different aspects of your life, different aspects of your personality, the different aspects of your personality, different aspects of what you're good at, anything, even what you're bad at. Yeah. So that's my homework for you guys. Sorry. Yeah, make sure you write it down and make sure you remember to do that. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. And I'll see you guys next week with a new video. No, not video, recording or podcast. Make sure you guys follow my Chlorinated Thoughts Instagram. It's literally the same title, Chlorinated Thoughts. My personal Instagram is LCSULAK. It'll be in my it'll be in the bio. And then also make sure you guys rate this podcast whatever stars you like. Hopefully it's not under like 3 stars. But if it is, then you're a hater and don't even rate my podcast, please. But anyways, I love you guys and I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.